In 1983, Kevin built a virtual realm called the Tron system. Inside it lies the grid, an environment where experiments run far faster than in the real world. Kevin even dematerializes himself into data and enters the grid. In 1989, after his wife dies, Kevin vanishes without explanation, leaving his fortune to his son, Sam. In 2010, Sam locates his father inside the grid, but Kevin sacrifices himself to save him. By 2025, NCOM and Dillinger Systems are locked in a battle to control the grid. NCOM is led by sisters Eve and Tess. Sam has stepped down, while Dillinger Systems CEO Julian is determined to restore his family's legacy. Within the grid, a program named Ares undergoes relentless training, fending off simultaneous attackers with effortless skill. One cycle. Ares wakes to find his identity disk upgraded. A giant projected face appears, introducing himself as Ares' creator, Julian. Ares, Julian explains, was designed as Dillinger Security software, the new master control. That night, Julian stages a showcase for investors. After everyone dons safety glasses, a massive rig fires multiple lasers, assembling a tank in the center of the room. He explains it was designed in the grid and materialized by the lasers, meaning an entire squad could be outfitted in minutes. He adds they can generate the soldiers too, and opens a tank to reveal Ares. Super strong, fast, intelligent, proprietary, and expendable. He doesn't eat or drink, he doesn't bleed. And if he's destroyed, Julian can just print another. Fail-safes are in place, Julian promises. Thunder rumbles. Ares scans and predicts rain soon, drawing chuckles. The investors leave impressed. Outside, in the drizzle, Ares watches a firefly, his first encounter with nature. Then both Ares and the tank disintegrate. Programs only persist 29 minutes in the real world. Elizabeth, Julian's mother, warns that misleading investors is disastrous. Julian insists he'll find the permanence code to make programs last outside the grid. She reminds him he has 6 months, or the board will remove him. In Alaska, Eve arrives at a private lab Kevin built, later used by her sister Tess, now deceased from cancer. Eve plays an encouraging message Tess recorded. Her friend Seth joins her. Tess spent years hunting Kevin's permanence code. Now Eve and Seth continue. After 4 frozen days combing through piles of old diskettes, they uncover mysterious double helix code. They test it by designing an orange tree in the grid and bringing it into reality via lasers, then watch the clock. It remains after 29 minutes. It works. Back in the grid, Ares returns unsettled by Julian's presentation. Treated like a disposable toy. His lieutenant Athena asks about his trip. Ares describes rain as something he could feel, which puzzles her. The next night, NCOM hosts a major game launch. CTO AJ worries. No one's heard from Eve, and the press is circling. Meanwhile, Elizabeth sees Julian hacking NCOM, knowing Eve is after the same code. She calls it reckless. He ignores her and dispatches programs to extract Eve's user file. Ares, Athena, and a strike team breach NCOM's grid servers. A device punches a hole in a wall. In the real world, a guard sees a breach alert. Dillinger's team drops NCOM's digital sentries, and Ares penetrates an information block, handing Julian full access. As NCOM initiates containment, Ares is distracted by an interview clip of Eve, whose humane philosophy links programs to people. Julian's access stutters for a moment. Ares refocuses and secures the file. The team moves to exfiltrate, but NCOM security arrives. A fierce fight erupts. Though outnumbered, Dillinger's units are superior and escape on hang gliders. Ares lingers when he sees a teammate still engaged and injured. Athena says to leave him. Ares turns back, clears the foes, and rescues him. Displeased, Julian drops a payload on the server, an explosion that knocks out NCOM's grid and their own soldiers, wrecking AJ's launch and canceling the event. Later, Ares wakes in his quarters and notices the wounded soldier never rebooted. Julian coldly explains failures are deleted. Disturbed, Ares receives a new assignment. Find Eve. Julian then takes a call from an irate AJ, who threatens to expose the 29-minute limit. Julian taunts him about Eve's absence. AJ hangs up. Eve and set depart Alaska, carrying the oranges. Once airborne, phones reconnect. AJ rings furious. Eve calms him. She has a code. Meanwhile, Ares combs Eve's files. Happy trips in the darkness of Tessa's illness and Eve's grief. After sifting thousands of items, he locates the Alaska tree and forwards it to Julian, who immediately pulls Ares, Athena, and 2 advanced bikes into the real world and sends them after Eve. 29 minutes on the clock. Eve leaves her private airfield on a bike. Street cams flag her. Ares and Athena give chase. Eve accelerates, drawing police attention. A patrol car joins. Athena slices it in half with a bike beam. Eve bails off the highway at the last second, forcing a bus to block the lane and delaying Ares. Athena follows into a parking garage. Eve hides, then hurls her own bike down the ramp, knocking Athena. Ares races in. Athena sprints uphill. Eve steals Athena's bike and rockets away. Back on the street, Ares closes in. He tries to pin her with the beam. She dodges, causing other collisions. Ares brakes for a stalled car with a baby inside. Eve gains distance. Watching the feed, Julian deploys more men. Eve fumbles the controls, then activates her beam too. Ares weaves past and pulls alongside. The duel sends both blasting through a gate and a mountain of trash, crashing hard. Eve tumbles safely into a dumpster, pops out, and runs. With both bikes down, Ares pursues on foot. They reach the docks. Cornered, Eve snaps the drive, holding the code, and flings it into the water. Approaching, Ares falters. His time is almost up. Eve realizes he's a program. He senses her empathy a heartbeat before he and Athena flicker back to digital. Simultaneously, a helicopter arrives. Julian's henchman uses a digitizing laser to pull Eve into the grid. News explodes over the chase damage. Elizabeth scolds Julian's recklessness. He claims the world will forgive him once he unveils the code. She insists he's not in control. In the grid, Athena completes Eve's digitization and assigns her an identity disk. They explain the permanence code is now in her. Seeing it once imprints it, but force extraction will kill her. Athena is unmoved. Ares halts the team and privately pings Julian with concerns. Julian snaps that Ares was built to obey. He wants the code regardless of Eve's fate. Returning, Ares tells Athena Julian is indisposed and orders a hold on extraction. After he clears the room, Athena secretly contacts Julian to report Ares' malfunction. Julian commands her to take the code and kill both Ares and Eve. Ares asks Eve whom he should trust. Eve says Julian sees everyone as expendable. Athena bursts back with 2 soldiers. They move in. Ares slams his disc down, opening a floor hole that drops him and Eve to the outer grid. They crash through light scaffolds and splash into a dark liquid. Ares swims to Eve, summons a light bike, and speeds him out. Athena dispatches drones and heads for the transfer portal. As they race, Eve marvels at the neon codescape. Ares explains the portal can send her home, but he wants the code in exchange. He claims he won't aid Julian. He wants it for himself. Drones catch up, firing beams. Ares deploys a shield around a bike and clears a huge gap, briefly shaking pursuit. Eve agrees to the deal. When the drones close again, Ares carves the tunnel with his disc, dropping debris onto them. A fireball blooms behind. Ares outruns it and dives into the portal with Eve. In Dillinger HQ, the laser rematerializes Ares and Eve. Julian's men swarm. Ares dismantles them in seconds. Ignoring Julian's shouts, they steal a van, blast through gates, and flee. Furious, Julian brings Athena into the real world as the new Master Control, arming her with a glider and a digitizer gun to hunt them. After she departs, Elizabeth slaps Julian. On the road, Eve says the code came from Kevin's files. There's another copy on Kevin's old system. Ares doubts they can reach NCOM in 29 minutes in a van, and they'll need a digitizer. Eve stops at a gas station and persuades a clerk to lend his phone by showing her magazine photo. She calls Seth, meet them at NCOM with a digitizing gun. They then take the clerk's fast car, promising to wire payment. Security footage gives Athena their trail. Ares drives with inhuman reflexes, threading traffic. On the way, he tells Eve he's read her messages. He knows her grief. She says finishing Tessa's work keeps her close to her sister. Outside NCOM, Ares crash parks to save time. Inside, they meet Seth and sprint to the museum floor that displays Kevin's old terminal. Eve retrieves the code. Seth assembles a gun. Athena arrives and holds fire, waiting for Ares to time out. Ares pivots. He leaps through a window to draw Athena off. Eve fires a gun anyway, sending him into Kevin's grid. Athena smashes through, obliterating exhibits. Seeing Ares already transferred, she destroys the gun to block his return. Seth charges. Athena punches him into arcade cabinets. Out cold. Eve runs. Athena bulldozes through machines in pursuit. She corners Eve. Then the sprinklers kick on. Athena is bewildered by water on her skin, stalls, and times out, snapping back to digital. At Dillinger, Julian is stunned as Athena forces the lasers, returning herself to reality. He can't stop her. Elizabeth enters and announces the board has fired Julian and reinstated her. Her first act, shut down the project. Athena stabs her with a disc, killing her. Julian is shattered. Athena coolly reminds him she's following orders, by any means necessary. She pulls two soldiers and a towering recognizer into the world and proceeds. Julian hammers at a console, override denied. At NCOM, AJ arrives to the wreckage. Eve explains and begs him to repair the gun. They spot the recognizer advancing. Eve realizes as long as Dillinger's grid runs, Athena will keep coming. She tells AJ to use Athena's drop gun to hack Dillinger and delete their grid while she buys time. Panic floods the streets. A police helicopter approaches. Athena shoots it down. Jets screaming. She drops them, too. Eve sprints. Athena fires tracking missiles that corral her in a glowing ring. A crashing jet clips the recognizer's legs, toppling it into buildings. In Kevin's 80s grid, Ares encounters a bit and asks for help. The bit conjures an old light cycle and guides him to a hidden sector, where a programmatic echo of Kevin appears. Ares admits he no longer wants the code just for himself. He wants to live to protect Eve. Moved, Kevin writes the permanence code into Ares' disk. Ares steps into a light column and reappears in Kevin's old basement. Back in the city, Athena abandons the wrecked recognizer for a tank and captures Eve, barreling through traffic with minutes left. Ares materializes in the road, suit glowing with new colors. He's free. He hurls his disc. The tank veers, crashes, and disintegrates amid multi-car pileups. Ares checks Eve. She's okay. Athena reemerges with two soldiers. The 3-on-1 fight pushes Ares to his limits. He drops the two soldiers but loses his disc and staggers. Athena overpowers him and moves in for the kill. Eve snatches the disc and throws it. Ares blocks the fatal strike. He and Athena duel across the street. This time he dominates, severing her hand and lining up the final blow. At that instant, AJ punches through Dillinger's systems and erases their grid. Missiles fall dead around the city. Ares holds Athena as she unravels into dust. He tells Eve the grid needs her and vanishes before police arrive. News outlets pin the catastrophe on Dillinger systems. Police surround their headquarters. Julian activates the lasers and escapes in the grid before arrest. In the weeks that follow, Eve uses a permanence code for good, materializing food and medicine for the real world at the push of a button. She receives a postcard from Ares. He's roaming, seeking Sam and Quora, the only program to ever escape before. In the rubble of Dillinger's grid, Julian finds his grandfather's disc. When he grasps it, armor floods over him. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more stories like this. Thanks for watching.